But if you have a character-driven moment and the arc in there, and it changes with the character as he changes his stature, where he is within the fight moment, it changes the fight completely. And actually, I feel, my personal opinion, it just draws the audience into the fight. So they're not watching a fight, they're watching a performance.
What's up, guys? Today's guest is the founder of Hitz International and is an Emmy Nominated Stunt Coordinator of Warrior. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Brett Chan. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me, Travis.
Yo, thanks for making the time too. And I love the background there. You were just representing fully with Warrior there.
Yeah, I got the one over that one over there, season 2.
Wow. What room in the house is this, man? This is an epic room. Holy crap.
My office. Inside of here.
I love it. I was just, and that answers 2 questions then, because I was just going to ask if you were back home, because I know you recently just completed a project overseas.
Yeah. I was in Budapest on Halo. So we finished that up, and then I just got home. So we're in Canada, so we have quarantine here.
Oh, okay.
Mandatory quarantine in a hotel if you're not vaccinated for 3 days, and pay $2,000, and then quarantine at home for another 11 days. So 14 in total.
Holy crap. Yeah, I heard they're pretty strict up in Canada. I heard they do tracing on the phones as well to make sure you're not breaking quarantine and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they make you install these apps so you can check every day if your symptoms and all that jazz. And then, they send people to your house to check up on you to see if you're actually quarantining. So I'm home and they're like, yeah, so who's in the house with you? I said, well, my wife. I said, is she exposed to you? I says, well, we live in the same house. They're like, well, do you have a separate room that you can sleep in during these 11 days? Yeah, okay, yeah, I do. And they get really like that. And then they have someone come on the day 8 of your quarantine and do another self-home test. And you got to call in the government, and then someone walks you through the whole steps. You do your self-testing, and then they send it off, but they want to make sure you're here and you're doing it. Wow,
that is pretty insane. But I guess at this point, anything to help stop it from spreading further and just getting back to normal life is the key. So, and not to make this all about COVID, but what was that like traveling overseas and working like you have in so many different places away from home during this time period?
It's as long as you, whether your opinion of the COVID and the protocols or whatever it is, as long as you're just being you're being part of the system. You wear the masks, you do your COVID testing, you comply with everything like that, then they're cool. So in Budapest, they were in lockdown at first when we first got there, and but the production makes us test 5 days a week.
Okay.
So literally every morning, and for us it was a mouth swab test. So they said you can't eat anything 3 hours prior to the test. So okay, well our test is 7 a.m. and we're up at 5 to get to work, and by that time you can't eat, you can't brush your teeth, you can't do anything. So everyone's bringing their toothbrushes to work because it's rank. Luckily we have the masks because then that saves us from killing each other in the car. But that was okay. And then once they had an X amount of population vaccinated, then they basically opened up the restaurants and the venues and stuff like that. Prior to that, you can sit on the terraces and eat or do whatever you want. But if you were going to go inside the restaurants or venues like cinemas, you had to have a vaccine card.
Oh wow!
But now that their population is 9 million, so now that they had over, I think now it's maybe 6-7 million that's vaccinated. Then now it's they open it all up now and they're starting to do the herd immunity thing, and it's been good there.
That is super cool. And more than anything, it's just cool to see that our industry is back and thriving, and individuals like yourself are able to actually travel around the world to complete projects. I was really worried that we wouldn't be able to go work and travel for a long time. So
yeah, it's hard. Well, BC, we opened up here September of last year, and there were still, the productions were, as long as everyone was just diligent about everything like that, we still 55 productions come off the floor September. 55. And there was COVID testings. It was 5 days a week or 3 days a week, depending on where you are, if you're red, or if you're yellow, depending, you interact with cast, directors. It's just, one of those things. But everyone was pretty compliant, and they're pretty strict in treatment. We actually have guys walking around with a 6-foot pole saying, measuring you, say 6 feet from each other, or how you wear the masks. And then they went from regular masks to N95 masks back to regular masks, and It was just insane. But you comply and you say yes, okay, cool, and you're being good about it. And as long as everyone on the set and everyone is actually pretty responsible about it. So they obviously, if one person messes up, that shuts the production down. Oh. So everyone's accountable. So do your due diligence, follow protocols, and everything will be fine. Whether you agree with the system or not, just follow it. Because you're not going to win. Just follow it and just play nice. And if it keeps everybody safe, or at least makes them feel safe, then that's all you can do.
Yeah, 100%. At this point, I'm just willing to do anything just to allow us to continue to just pursue our industry and get back to work so we can just keep doing our jobs and creating stuff. And obviously, I know Halo is a project that you just got in the can, so obviously probably can't talk about it that much. But that being said, do you know when it's slated to release? Is this going to be a movie that has a lot of post-production or...
There's a lot of post-production, but what happened was they been shooting this show for over 3 years because they shut down because of COVID, and they flew everybody home. They brought everyone back, started going. They shut down because of COVID again, and they flew everyone home. Then when they come back, they would restart the system again. But there was a coordinator on prior to that, and I guess they weren't happy with him, so he got let go. He had 14 months to kind of prep it, and a lot of it wasn't done. So when they called me, and the producer was a friend of mine, he says, "Look, I just need this job done, and with the team, I need everyone to be amicable." And I said, "Cool." So Johnny Yang and Jason Ning came out, amongst other some people, but those are my two lieutenants and right tenants. So we did it, and they gave us literally 4 weeks to plan all the action for the whole season. Yeah, literally. The other guy had 14 months. We had 4 weeks, and it was brutal because. So a regular sketch, and this is it's a series.
Yeah.
It's a high series. So it was when you have episodic. So you have episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And episode 1 has action in the beginning, and then you can finish that off, and you can start prepping for action for episode 2, and you finish off. This wasn't like that. It was literally they shot everything that was non-action. One action sequence they shot, which didn't turn out very well, so that's why we had to come back and shoot it. But it's literally episode 1, 3, 6, whatever it is, action. So there was really no time to kind of get things going. It was full on, all hands on deck, and it was everyone had to really pull in. It was brutal.
That is wild. You know what? Full transparency here, which is kind of funny about the story and how it made it full circle when I talked to Johnny, was I had gotten hit up by someone on the show maybe 7-8 months, way before you guys basically got the call. And he was calling me to come help with the fights. And then all of a sudden I didn't hear anything. And then months later I see you and Johnny going over there. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure I figured out what happened.
No. You know what really happened was, so their coordinator, they just want to get along.
Yeah,
so
totally.
But the way it works in Hungary is that they all work in teams. They have big teams. So if the coordinator leaves the show, the whole team leaves.
That's what I figured.
And so, they're having problems. So they brought on Bidan.
No way. Yeah.
Bidan's dope. Yeah. So he was just there doing the fight stuff. But, they wanted to bring a stunt coordinator on that can help facilitate time and gags and all sorts of stuff like that. So when they called me initially, they called me before they called me Dan to come on to be the fight coordinator. And I was like, yeah. I said, no, I can't do that because I actually have an outstanding kind of relationship with this other coordinator too. I said, no, I'm not going to work with him. Sorry. They said, okay, come on. I said, no. And I'm on a couple shows now anyways. So I said, no, sorry. And then afterwards, they called me back. So just come now. He's no longer here. And I said, okay. So I came out. So that's when I met B-Dan for the first time. B-Dan's dope. He's a cool dude, man.
Super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, super talented dude. And we all worked really well together. It was still pretty hard because there's a lot of politics around the show itself. We're stepping into the middle of it. It's not like we were coming in the beginning of it. Yeah.
I've been in situations like that. It's always a touchy subject, especially walking into something that's already been in production already. So.
Yeah, and it's been going for 3 years or 2 years or whatever. It's not like it's just happening overnight. Yeah, it's been pretty it's pretty brutal, but it was good. It was a good experience, and I love it.
Super, super cool, man. And I think one of the coolest things is, like you said, that some of your left and right hand men is Jason and Johnny Yang. And I think what's cool is that I've had Johnny here on the JAMCast as a guest previously, and he spoke obviously super highly of you and all you've done for his career. But what I think is even cooler is that the first time I think Johnny met you was back when I met you too on Olympus Has Fallen back in Shreveport.
Yeah. He looked at me because I guess James Liu and Simon were introducing all the guys because there was back then it was the whole Canadian American thing, and we had 90 stunt guys there, and 3 of us were Canadian. So, we're sitting in the corner going, "Ooh, shit," get some stink eye here and there, but it was cool. And then, James introduced all of us, and Johnny looked at me and he goes, "Did I send my resume to you a long time ago?" I'm like, "Actually, yeah, you did." He goes, "Oh yeah." So I go, "Did I reply to you?" He goes, "Yeah, you did." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So that was cool. He goes, "Yeah." So that happened there, and then years go by, keep going by, and then I had an unspeakable Marvel show that I was just like, it was crazy, but as I was looking for a guy to be my right hand anyway. So, and I've been following ever since then, ever since Olympus. I've always followed Johnny's stuff closely, and so I gave him a call. Thing is, with me is that I got a no asshole policy. So if you're an asshole, I just won't work. I don't care how talented you are. It's not gonna. We're in this business. I don't know, like sometimes like 7-8 months or whatever it is. You could be working with them for like 18 hours a day. I have to be able to be with the person and not want to throttle them or not cringe every time he says something because he's a jerk to somebody or whatever it is. So that's been one of my main policies, and Jason and Johnny are like they're the dopest. So.
Yeah, I love the way that you say it. You say it in a lot more clear and concise way. I've been telling people on the JAMCast episodes for 2 years now that not only do you have to be obviously very talented and skilled, but I told people that some of the people that go on these long runs are just people that are very personable, that you just want to be around and are going to keep a smile on their face the entire 6 to 10 months, like you said.
Yeah, they got to be able to treat every department with respect. There's some people that just treat like costumes badly or treat whatever. Like you can't do that. We all have to work on this together. Like we're on Halo. There's no way I could have done the show if we were complete enemies with costumes or special effects, whatever it is, because they're all really cool cats. So it's better to get along because we all have this common goal and enjoy our time on the set. It's going to be hard. It's easier when we're pulling each other out of the trenches as opposed to kicking each other down through the trenches. So and it makes a good working environment, and your smile goes a long way, and that's your calling card every time you show up on the set. Someone remembers you. If you're a jerk, well, that ends it. But if you're cool, right?
No, it's super good to hear that, especially for someone like yourself in a position of power, and obviously we're seeing your career just elevate to the next status. It's good to see that you actually care about things like that. I feel like there was, not to talk down upon older generations, but I feel like there was a different mindset back in the days where people could talk to you in a certain way and get away with it just because of the status of where they were in our business.
100%. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started Hitz, because it was, groups were the big thing. Not saying anything bad about groups. It's just groups were the power thing. And if you were considered to be part of the group, that was everybody wanted to be in those groups because that created recognition for you. That I'm invited kind of thing. But with those groups came like a certain type of air of like whatever it was, and not everybody, but just it did carry that stuff. And back then, because there wasn't as many jobs or there weren't many positions, whatever it is. So there's a lot more cutthroat, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of stuff like that. So when I created Hitz, it started off as an international promotional site. It was just more like guys I wanted to work with, I know that I would love to be with, and I know that I just want to be able to help and work together. And, it started accruing guys from around the world, guys that I've worked with, and because I've been working around the world. So I went from Slovakia to Bulgaria to like New Zealand to South Africa, and then Canada, US, and then it just started growing. And then because it kind of became a little thing, everyone's like, oh, it's a team. And it became kind of like an issue for some people. I'm like, so you know what? Why don't we just make it a team then? Because you're gonna do that. You're gonna put and so it is. And our main staple still is the fact that I can look at my brothers next to me and understand that I can trust them 100%. They'll have my back 100%. They have my best interest at heart. And likewise for me. And you can talk to any of the members, Jason, Johnny. You can talk to those guys, and they'll tell you that's exactly what we're all about. It doesn't have to be. We don't have to be the best of the best. We're all talented. We do really well. But when we work cohesively together, it becomes that bigger and better of a project or of a learning curve for us, or a talent or a show or whatever we create. Totally. As opposed to hating each other. It's just like
No, that's super cool. I was always curious about the start of that, because obviously there have been some groups that have been in existence for decades to come. Some of them, all of us in the stunt industry obviously are aware of, but I've been one along with a co-owner of JAM, Aaron Toney. We both have kind of been like in this middle ground where we've obviously been invited to join some teams, but we kind of just stuck to doing our own independent thing. And over the years, people are starting to think Jam's a team now. And I'm kind of where you were, where it's like, we're not a team. We're still in those early days. We're just a collective of friends that work together often and stuff. So it's cool to see what you were able to do with it. And if I'm not mistaken, you not only have international members, but I feel like I've seen posts of like female members that are, I don't know if they're a part of the team or they're associated with you guys as well.
We have one female member out of Bulgaria.
Okay.
And then we have another female member out of China.
Okay.
And that's all our female members. I mean, we're always trying to look and expand and find, and we don't want to just, hey, you want to join? No, it isn't about accruing people. It's about a mindset and how you want to live as a family. And anywhere you go with this, we always try and pull Hitz members on, and you can definitely feel the difference in every show we're on, because we create that family atmosphere in every show, and they love it, and I love it. So that's. I'd hate to be on a show that I just hate the people. I'm there for 6 months, and let's say, God forsake it, knock on wood, I die the next day. Well, my last 6 months, I just hated being on this show. What's the point? I just want to be experiences and give everyone life experiences and love it, love their job.
100%. And now, obviously, there's so many projects that you've done ever since I met you on Olympus that I want to dive into. We could honestly do multiple JAMCasts talking about everything you've coordinated. But I kind of want to take like a step back first and ask you about like how your introduction into this industry started. I know on your IMDb, one of the first credits you have is for Ninja Turtles, The Next Mutation. But I just wanted to know what your first memory of being in the industry was.
Well, so I was doing my pre-meds, and I went to human kinetics and kinesiology. And then I was going to open up a gym. I wanted to open a gym because I was a personal trainer, and I was going to have a martial arts in there because I do a lot of martial arts. So I was going to be able to break you up, beat you up, and then but then I finished. I'm a sports rehab massage therapist, so then I can fix you and I can train you to be stronger. Yes. And that was the ideal thing for everything. But through the process, you got to go to get there. So I was working as a doorman at a bunch of nightclubs, and I met a girl, and she had her own agency. We were dating for a little bit, not very long, but she said, "Hey, do you want to be my agency?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I never even thought about it. The last chance I even thought about being in the film industry is back in the early 90s or late 80s. There was a show called Vanishing Sun.
Okay.
In Russell Wong. Yep. And every Wednesday it was Vanishing Sun, and the next Wednesday it was Hercules. So it alternated, right? And I love those shows, and I always thought, oh man, I want to be in that show. It'd be kind of cool. I never even thought about being a stuntman, and then it just kind of rolled. And the next thing, one day I was sitting on set, and Kevin Sorbo was beating the crap out of me on Andromeda. I'm like, this is crazy. This is like so surreal.
No way. What's so surreal about that, Brett, is my dad trained Kevin Sorbo and Lucy Lawless for Hercules.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's so crazy to hear that.
Oh, that's wicked. And it was cool too. So and then she got me a gig. My first credit actually was this thing called Karate Fighters. Oh. Those little toys you put on a thing, you swivel it, and they throw punch and kicks. Yeah. You hit the guy in the chest, and then he goes flying off. Yeah. So I was a tattoo terror. That was my first credit ever. And then I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. I was sitting there, and I had this makeup lady buzzing over me. I had a prosthetic lady buzzing. I said, "This is not too bad, man. It's being fussed over by ladies." And then afterwards, you get to perform, and it was such a rush. And then I'm not gonna lie, I got my check, and I was like, okay, I got to be doing this. I'm doing what I love, surrounded by these cool people, and I'm getting paid. I mean, it's like, we are, I guess, considered essential workers, because without the arts, especially in this COVID time, the world would be crumbling. You need the arts, and it's kind of cool. And and then afterwards, I met some guys that were working on Ninja Turtles of the TV series.
Okay.
Fox, The Next Mutation, and that's what I got. I got on there as one of the bad guys, and then, look at me. I'm always a bad guy. A shaved head, tattoos. I'm never going to be the good guy. A couple times maybe, but I'm either doubling bad guys, or I'm in a big costume as a bad guy.
Totally. Man, I'm so glad you brought up your complete origin story, because I was going to ask about the kinesiology and the PT and the massage therapy. And what's really funny is I had a guy on the JAMCast maybe a few episodes ago who is actually a stunt performer who actually during his performance career, decided to go finish getting his doctorate for physical therapy. And one thing that he said, though, which you just basically echoed, was his parents didn't support his decision to do it until he got his first weekly. And he looked at it and passed it over to his mom, and his mom was like, "Oh, can I do stunts too?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also, with because my first check on Ninja Turtles, because we did 2 episodes, so I got double contract that day.
Oh.
And it's different, how it is for States and it is for Canada, the buyout and all that jazz. But anyways, and so, then I looked at my first check for Ninja Turtles. It's like, whoa, this is definitely where I want to be. But during that time, like I still went to school. So I was getting into medicine, didn't like it. I was going to get into some physio, but I wasn't so captivated with it. But then the sports rehab massage therapy was really where I was going. So, a couple of guys too, like I'm a very deep tissue therapist when I was. Okay. So like Olympus, on Keith, he had a problem with his back, and Simon had a problem with his, he had hip replacement. So he's having problems there. And so I fixed him up for a little bit. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand, especially with our business too. I mean, the injuries, and you sustain them, I sustain them. It's just like anytime I can help people with that kind of thing, it's always been great.
Yeah, 100%. My friend who I just spoke about also, he actually just got to be a part of a stunt team as part of the core group, and they brought him on not only to double, but to basically be there to like do warm-ups with the team and also like treat guys on set. And so we're starting to see a lot more of that become common, as I feel like our generation is very aware of what you need to do to keep the human body going.
Definitely. Well, when I travel on shows and I bring up like a big team, I try and multitask the guys. Like one guy can do this, one guy can do this, one guy can do this, and some guy can help with physio, some guy can help with this. So because it becomes a collective, and then I can use you more than once on certain things, and you become like a family unit. It has to be that way because you can't keep flying people in and out, in and out, in and out. It doesn't work. Especially COVID now. I mean, you can't really do that. But I mean, if there's one consistency with somebody, then you're good.
100%. Yeah, I tell people to be a Swiss Army knife if you can. It's better to fill more than one role, and you'll obviously get on more shows that way. So in addition to like your background in all of that sports, physiology and kinesiology and stuff like that, what martial arts backgrounds did you have as well? Because I know you studied a bunch of different arts.
I started off in Kung Fu when I was 7. And then I was only for like a year, and I was 7 years old. So, you're just getting on to the 5 deadly venom styles, the snake, and, you're only captivated by that. And I was actually, I was in the Philippines because we moved there when I was 6. So I was hyperactive, ADD, as my dad would say it. So he had to put me in something, because otherwise I was driving everybody crazy. So he put me in martial arts. But he's also an avid martial artist. After that 1 year came out, we moved, and so then I started taking karate. Shotokan to be specific, and which I did that for the longest time. And then, and then I do, Shito-ryu, Goju. You start branching off, and with certain levels, high levels of karate, you start doing Aikido and Judo and a lot of stuff. It's all kind of encompassed in there. But martial arts for me, at first I was forced to do it. Like it was literally, I had to drop basketball, volleyball, track, and I had basically no curricular activities. I was doing martial arts 6-7 days a week. And so at that point, you're growing up as a teenager and your buddies are all going out partying or meeting girls or doing whatever it is. You're like, this sucks. So I didn't have a complete love for it, but then I went away for it for about a year. And then I came back to it on my own. Because then my dad started flying me like, go train with Calamini, go train the jet, go do this, taekwondo. So I got my black in taekwondo. And then I came back my own. I started doing Arnis, I started doing Muay Thai, I started doing boxing, started doing, Krabi Krabong, started doing Silat, started doing all these different things, a little bit of Sabat, and then now I'm Krav Maga, and then I started getting into like TKDD. I went to Korea, I trained with Master Kim in Korea with his TKDD style. So it was just, now I love it. And once you reach a certain level of mastery, not mastery, I don't want to say master, once you reach a certain level of proficiency in any type of martial art, your aptitude to learn other martial arts, and you can pick up a little quicker because you understand theory, right? And motivation and history. When you start doing that, then, you start doing Chun, you start doing just different things, you start picking up different things, and it all kind of goes like the Bruce Lee's thing, hybridism. Like you take the best from things and you make it yours and what you develop. So what I'll do is completely different. If you learn the exact same thing, but because our body statures are so different, we'll utilize those movements differently, even though it's the same concept. Yeah, and that was the idea.
And for someone like yourself that's in a position as a coordinator now and running shows, is there a martial art that you would suggest to up and coming stunt people? I feel like that's a common question that even I get myself, is like, is there a martial art I should study in preparation for stunts, or is there one that you feel like helped you the most from your past?
If you look at most kickboxers that came up before they got into MMA, most kickboxers came from a background of like an art. So this is not saying anything bad about anything that's not an art, but an art will always give you a good foundation. This is my personal opinion. Whether it's karate, whether it's Wing Chun, whether it's Taekwondo, whether it's an art, and you learn those basics. Once you learn the basics and you learn everything, movement, like your steps become secondhand nature, everything can kind of step in. If you just jump into just doing, let's say, just MMA right off the top, you don't learn those fundamentals. And you can tell, you can watch the fighters, even in the cage, when they're fighting, guys who just jumped into MMA right away, or guys who've actually have an art and how they throw their techniques. Yeah. It's like when I was doing Krav, I was training with this guy, Lorian Lapadatu. This guy's nuts, but he was just phenomenal. But he's also a fifth Dan in Shotokan. When he executes his punches, it's just so much more streamlined and efficient. Now, Krav Maga was meant to teach masses, right? So if you weren't a martial artist, you learn how to defend yourself and do these rudimentary techniques and make them effective. But as a martial artist, with those techniques, those things just look so much more different. So it's not really a particular martial art. You want to do Kali, you want to do Taekwondo, you want to do whatever it is. You just get really good at one. And I think an art form first teaches you discipline, teaches you all sorts of different things. And then you start branching off and you start, hybridizing things together.
100%. It's super cool to hear, man, just because I feel like, I actually grew up in a Kung Fu background in a Kung Fu house myself. And I feel like Chinese martial arts are starting to become a lot more of a rarity, especially within modern culture and stuff these days. So it's cool to see. And I think one of the coolest things about it is that you've been able to utilize your background and take it onto these shows that you've been involved with, whether it be, Iron Fist or, Kung Ου and of course Warrior, you know what I'm saying?
Don't say that one.
What was that one, bro?
I start getting PTSD when you hear that. Yeah.
We all know, though, at the end of the day, that the final product is not always a reflection of the stunt team and everything you put into it.
You would be surprised. I got slammed by a lot of people after that came out. Like, it was like they had no idea. Like, Johnny and myself were doing 21, 22-hour days, trying to make it work, and have the directors go, no, or Marvel saying, no, or everyone's fighting, and like the actor doesn't want to train, he doesn't want, and like, guys, throw me a bone, give me something to work with here. That's why the best sequences were with Jessica Hennick, because she trained 4 hours a day, and she had zero martial arts experience, And we had great guys. We had like Hiro Minami teaching all the part. I was teaching Aikido and Judo. Teaching us some Kenjutsu, and we teach a little bit of Kung Fu just to add in there. And then, and then it was just, yeah.
Don't worry about it. From my perspective, just so you know, and a lot of my friends, like, we don't judge based on that. We've been on so many shows where the previews you turn in and you see the final product and you're like, what were they looking at? Or, for example, I have a movie coming out this week that I did reshoots on for Snake Eyes, and I keep telling people, like, just remember, I didn't write the script, and they just put out like a teaser scene from like one of the scenes that we did, and I'm hoping that it was just on Instagram, but every one of my friends that have watched it were like, they're missing sound effects for every hit. Like, they'll show a guy get hit with a trash can and have a sound effect, but then no sound effect when he hits the ground. And I literally saw a guy get hit with a stick, and there's no sound effect, and I'm like, I have no control over this, but as you know, that's our job.
Unfortunately, the general mass of people that don't understand film work don't understand this. Yeah. They just kind of look at, that sucked, man. You ruined our. I'm like, that's why Warrior was so key, because when they called me, I was just like, oh man, this is going to be like, this is Bruce Lee's legacy kind of thing, and his mother, his wife, and his daughter are kind of looking at you, and you're like, oh, you got to make this work. And Jonathan Tropper, who's an awesome writer. And his crew, like, Brad Kane and Josh Stoddard and like Ken, it's Lynn, it's just like all these people were just like, it's so much to live up to. So if that didn't work out, it'd be crazy. But fortunately, the director for the first episode of season 1, he didn't really have an understanding of Bruce Lee or anything about Bruce Lee. So when he was creating it, I'm like, what's going on? Or he wouldn't understand, like, okay, this is not selling from this point. I said, it's not, we're cutting here. I don't need this. We're cutting here. That's all we need. We'll cut for the reaction on that side. He's like, but I don't get it. I said, okay. So Jonathan Travers just said to me, Brett, because you're a TV schedule, and it's like, just shoot it all. Okay. So, after the first major fight sequence that he saw, because the director's like, oh, let's do this, and nothing was working. I said, it's not going to work. Not going to work. I said, okay, let's try it. We brought it us on a Saturday. Spent $90,000 bringing his camera and all this stuff in. Okay, nothing was working. I said, just let me try it. Let me show you. And so we did it. And Jonathan Travers is like, okay, Brett, you're shooting all the action, and yeah, go. And so that's what created the for the season. So directors like Lonnie Pasteur, like, he's awesome. He's a VisFX guy too, but he's a genius. And so he's very collaborative. And that, for me, like, Warrior was the show. I mean, from the production to the actors, and that's just phenomenal. You had Andrew Koji, you had like Dean Yeager, you had Jason Tomey, you had Joe Taslim, you had, they're all like awesome, and I couldn't kick them out. All they wanted to do was train every day. It was fantastic. So, and that all came too. Plus, the writing helped it to elevate the performances and the story, and then it just really helps. And it's my baby. It's definitely one of my most acclimated shows.
And understandably so. It's amassed almost like a cult following, and every article I ever read about the show is literally people saying, like, if you haven't heard of it, it's the best action show you're not watching right now. Like, you need to get out there and watch it. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys were finally, is it official that you're greenlit for a season 3?
Official.
Congratulations, man. When we had Johnny on his JAMCast episode, it was still pending and up in the air floating around. So that is amazing news. And I think more than anything, one thing that like we started off the episode talking about is you were actually Emmy nominated for an Emmy Award, if I'm not mistaken.
For season 2. So I guess the votes are coming in. I guess we can all start voting August 19th, I think, till August 30th. And that will determine with the 5 shows that are up there right now.
Amazing. And is there a scene that sticks out in your mind as one of your favorite ones that you were able to achieve and accomplish over the duration of the 2 seasons?
Oh, like, they were all like crazy. Like, we're like, let's say, the ride scene, we're shooting 4 episodes at once. So we're like choreographing, shooting, previewing. I had three previous teams. I had Jason, Johnny, and this guy Steve Davis. There's also a Hitz member who's under New Zealand. So we're shooting, choreographing, shooting, just moving. I'm going to set shooting that one. Johnny's coming over here. It was insane. But one of the ones that I really enjoyed the most was Lonnie Pasteur's episode in season 2, episode 4, episode 5.
Okay.
That was basically the police raid. I'm not sure if you saw it. The police raid come in. Joe Taslim's on the top there, and he has a sword. He's got to fight his way down the stairs. Yes. I don't know, because I just felt that every move that he was doing was performed so well. Like, everything looked like so deliberate and so painful and so savage, because that related to where he was at that time in his storyline. So when I do the choreo for these guys, I always kind of talk to them where they want to be in the storyline, so that it changes how they move. Because he may show a punch like this, but now he's furious and he's angry and there's things happening. This punch goes from this to like this, and it just looks different, and that elevates from his character. So during that time, we did the Dustin Ewan fight, Zing and Leong fighting up there in the intercut and the downstairs, and I think that was like, we didn't have too many days. I think like 2 days to shoot all that, and then main unit had like another 2 days. So it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 8 fights in that sequence, and they're huge fights. Yeah. We're talking like police raid, like 30 cops and like 40 Feng Hai, same time, recycling those guys to shoot in the fight in the stairs, recycling those guys to shoot the double on the top, Zing and thing, and recycling. It was just, just crazy going on. And trying to hide people all the time, because, South Africa only has X amount of Asian people. So it's like, put a mustache here, shave his head halfway here, just whatever it is. Sorry, JJ, you got to shave your head. What? Sorry, dude. Okay, they're shaving their heads, and, you don't have time to do a bald cap for everybody. So it was like, yeah, everyone was real troopers. Everyone was really good.
That is crazy. I was literally just going to ask you about some of these gigantic, melee scenes where you have just looks like hundreds of performers out there and stuff. More so, I just wanted to ask, like, what is that like for you having to work internationally so often. Just from my own personal perspective, the last 3 years I've chosen to purposely stay in LA, where I sleep in my own bed. I can call upon my local resources and go to, Jack Rubin and Sons and pick up rigging gear if I need. What's that like when you have to go overseas and you are only able to bring like a small team with you?
Core-wise, I always bring the guys that are the most versatile. And anywhere you go in the world, you'll find that, like, anywhere you go, like, for the most part at least, they really want to do well, and they really try hard well, and they really want to, like, just learn, and they want to absorb, and they want to do so good because they want this profession, what they want to do. We're very spoiled in North America.
Yes.
With the rates, with how we're treated, or we're this, that. We're very spoiled, and you can tell that. And when you come to other countries, and these guys are really working not for very much, but they're hitting the ground 10 times harder, or not worried about adjustments, or not worried about this. Understand, it's so much more different, and it's a little more inspirational because people really, really want to do a good job because they love it. They're not there just for the money. They're there because they love it. And I find that a lot in a lot of places, and you always find gems everywhere you go. And along the way, I've picked up a few guys to be a part of Hitz, and they're fantastic. And the good part about traveling is that I can go in a country for like 6 months, and I can absorb the culture, understand where they're coming from, why they think this way, why would this happen, and helping them change their perspective on certain something because they've been treated a certain way for like generations, but now it's not like that. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to take your money. I'm not going to drive you commission. This is your money. I'm going to do this for you. Like we were in Hungary, and we had a big team from international, a bunch of guys and a bunch of locals, and I guess I get treated kind of badly over there. So when I ordered food for everybody. So every day I give them all vitamins. I give them massages once a week. I got them like all crappy in there. I got them coffees. I got them everything stocked in there. Like hyper volts for everybody to use, and all that stuff. And they're like, at first the department coordinator was like, okay, these are just for the internationals. I'm like, whoa, no, this is for the whole team.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Yeah, this is for everybody. It's not just for internationals. You're part of the team. This is us. And so I guess they really appreciate that, and they're not used to that kind of stuff. So, but wherever I go, if you're working for me, you're part of the team. You're not just some schmuck on the side because you're from a local. No, you're part of the team. You're part of the family. So, and they appreciate it, and I think that changes the perspective of certain things. Like guys in China, they're so used to being just like narrow-minded. They just do what they're told. Get up, do this, that's it. Like that, and they don't want to go out. They don't want to do this. And so on Warrior, I had the guys from China. We had them skydiving. They were like, out the water, swimming with seals, and they're like, holy crap, they never imagined it. But it took like 3 months just to get them to open up to want to do something different. And then next thing you know, I couldn't stop them. They're like, where are we going to go here? Well, and they loved it, right? So I love being able, like, at first, Marco Polo season 1, I had a Chinese team and Japanese team on there. And, there's an outstanding history, not with them, but with the culture of the Chinese and Japanese. Yeah. So at first, it's always a little bit of, but I get everybody to train, and I actually, on purpose, remove each guy and make them pair with others that they don't know how, or they don't speak English. But by the end of like a month, you have Russian, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, all sitting there laughing their asses off at jokes that are not even spoken in English or their common language. They just understand each other. And so for me, that's always been like, that's cool.
100%. And
now they all have outstanding friends. And actually, at Marco Polo, I think like 8 people got married from meeting on the show, and it's been cool. And it happened on every show I'm on. Someone always meets, and it becomes a long-lasting relationship. And it's cool because I'm on Facebook and I'll see them all interact with each other still. Yeah. Like this guy's speaking Russian, this guy's speaking Chinese. They're all laughing at each other, and the jokes all in like their own languages. So it's pretty cool.
That is super, super cool, man. And for someone like yourself that has traveled and works in so many different locations, I just kind of like to ask this as like a non-stunt related question. Is there a city or country you've been to that's your favorite, or somewhere that you would recommend people to go check out that maybe they wouldn't have expected?
I thought Budapest was gonna be like Iron Curtain-ish because it just left like maybe 30 years ago kind of thing. The older generation is kind of softening up, but it's a beautiful country, beautiful city. Like you see it. Cape Town was awesome. I mean, yes. Cape Town, obviously on the outskirts, you have to be really, really cognizant of the dangers.
I worked in Joburg once, and I was sketched out, man.
Yeah, no, so I go to Joburg.
Yeah.
I don't go to Joburg. Cape Town. I go to Cape Town.
Yeah. Near the beach,
Yeah.
man.
They're like, hey, we need you to audition these people. We need you to go to Joburg and sleep there for 3 nights and audition like 100 guys. I'm like, yeah, no. Send me tapes, whatever. It's not that, that I wouldn't go, but I just didn't want to go. I still have to deal with that. Always having to because when I was in Cape Town, 3 guys should have jumped me on the street in the downtown area, and I had no idea. I was not in a very good area. So it turned out okay for me, not so okay for them. But then, I jumped in the Uber, and the Uber's just like, yeah, I wasn't even going to come here. It's a bad area. I'm like, oh, man, I had no idea. But, yeah, I think those guys would have a second thought about jumping someone.
Did they got to see some real life kung fu?
Well, yeah, and my whole team were having dinner, so they're all waiting for me, and I showed up about 45 minutes late, and it's not like me because I'm always on time. If not, I'm always early. So they're like, told me story, like, holy shit. Even Michael Bisping, he was down walking around,
Yep.
and he was walking in an area where he shouldn't have walked in, and guys were like coming, like, holy shit. And so, yeah, you just gotta know where to be. But otherwise, the place is beautiful. The people are awesome. Like, the crew is phenomenal. It's just, and it's such a great place to be.
Hell yeah. No, that's super cool. And now one of the other shows right now that I feel like is one of the more current ones is Kung Fu, the series, which has been revamped. And what's your involvement with that, and what's that been like, especially with your background?
Well, that was my I did the first 6 episodes.
Okay.
But I only shot the first 5. Yeah, 5, because I left to go to Halo on. So I choreographed the 6, but then I left.
Okay.
And so you know how it is. It's never really the way it's supposed to be. And they have a time crunch budget, which they can shoot wise. So like we're doing one of the fights, and it was like such a character driven fight, and it was really awesome. But then we got to cut 12 seconds here and 14 seconds there, and like. Guys, you asked me to build this arc of the story and do all this stuff, but now now it just looks like a fight. And for me, when you're watching a fight's a fight. I mean, you can do cool moves in a fight, but it's a fight. I mean, how many times have you seen cool moves fight? But if you have a character-driven moment and the arc in there, and the changes with the character as he changes his stature, where he is within the fight moment, it changes the fight completely. And actually, I feel, my personal opinion, it just draws the audience into the fight. So they're not watching a fight; they're watching a performance. How it is. But I haven't been watching all the series, but I've been keeping up because Olivia Liang and the cast, Eddie Liu, all of them, like Shannon Dang and Vanessa Kai, like, man, they're such an awesome bunch of people. And like, when they called me first for Kung Fu, they're like, okay, Brett, what can we do? What do you need to do to make our actress look like she's legit? So okay, I need someone with a little bit of martial arts background, and give me like 8 weeks to train with her.
Yeah.
If not 8 weeks, give me something like 4 weeks. And 8 weeks is a big stretch for a TV series. I'm like, okay. So okay, great. Yeah, no worries. You have that. Okay, great. So so they waited till last minute to cast her, and she got cast, and they said, okay, she has no martial arts, and you have 5 days. I said, what? All the actors they cast with no martial arts. I'm like, guys, you're killing me here. But Olivia showed up, and Vanessa and Yvonne and even Eddie, like, they showed up, and they're like, I don't care. Let's train 7 days a week. So we literally, Olivia's like, let's train 7 days a week. So she literally trained 7 days a week until we got to camera before we got shut down for COVID.
Okay.
But she has a dance background, so she picks up choreo really quickly, and she's very flexible, so she can move really well. And Vanessa, she's active, so she's learning that too. And Eddie has had some. I think he trained with Mike Chat for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had this, and like Shannon Dang, she just wanted to train. She has no fights, but she just wanted to be there and train. She said, I don't care, I just want to be there and train. Great. So I mean, it was kind of cool. I mean, for Zero Martial Arts and how we're shooting it, Joe Menendez was just like, okay. He wrote a letter to everyone, all the directors and DOPs. And listen, this is how we're shooting all the fights. It's going to be shot the way we discussed with Brett. He shoots it, previs it, makes notes, pre-previs it, edits it, and that's how we shoot it.
Awesome.
But then that changes obviously with time, because this takes us longer. So now we have 3 hours to shoot the fight. Now we have an hour and a half. So that will, so our shot list, well, my shot for the first 5 episodes basically were made up to the point where, okay, so I have like 22 shots here. Okay, well, if I take out 6, 9, 12, and 13, keep the rest of them, the fight still looks the fight, and you still get it. And so that's what we kind of did. Well, that's what I did for the first 5.
Okay. And along the lines of that, for those ones, and as well as when you referenced earlier getting to shoot some stuff for Warrior, are you primarily doing second unit directing on these shows, or are you getting the opportunity to venture into first as well?
So I'm second unit, but JT and the directors, they have, which is I'm thankful for. They have a lot of trust that I shoot the drama within the fights too.
Awesome.
So I like to tell it that arc. But season 2, I was supposed to direct one of the episodes, which I think was episode 6. Yeah, with Dustin, the one Dustin did. But we were block shooting, and we're literally shooting like 3-4 episodes at a time. So JT was like, if you shoot that, it's going to be your job. So he says, season 3. And I said, okay. So, but then it got bought out by Warner Brothers. So now it's HBO Max. So Cinemax is gone. So Cinemax has agreed to that, but now it's HBO Max. So now the protocol is different. So season 3 coming into it, there has been a little talk about me directing an episode, but it's got to go through the chains, and everything has to be cleared up and changed up there from that point. So cross the fingers. But I actually have 2 scripts out right now, which one of them we've cast Joe Taslim. He's on board as one of the supporting leads. And we're talking to a bunch of cast right now, which we shoot that, hopefully, we shoot that in January. Okay. And we start prepping this year in November.
No way. Yeah, so I guess my obviously next logical question was like, is that your aspiration to venture into first unit directing, since you've just been on fire stunt coordinating all these shows lately? Is that the eventual goal, is to be first unit director?
Yeah, that is. I mean, I love the second unit. But there's limitations to how creative you can be in the second unit. Warrior is an anomaly. They let me have a lot of creative control. And you talk to guys like Ronnie Costera, the director. He's just like, Brad, take it away. I just want this point, this, all in that fight, and these arcs, and then go take it away. And then he'll come back and say, no, change this, change that. Okay, great, I'll go do that. And he'd be like, great. And Lonnie's just like, Brett shoots it exactly one. So, and we didn't have any time to do anything otherwise. So yeah, and so that the aspiration is to main direct, and hopefully maybe kind of do both at the same time. I can actually shoot from the action, but like Johnny, like I can just say when I'm watching the monitors, I say, hey Johnny, yeah, got it. Hey Johnny, yeah, got it. Johnny already has a shorthand, so he already knows when I'm looking at something what I'm missing, and Jason's already getting there too. So. And that's the point. And so now it's more because the shows are becoming more elaborate and more spread out now. So now it's more about finding another guy or two that wants to jump on board with us and work with us on that team, so we can always move things around. And I can, okay, well, Johnny, I'll take Jason here today. You take so-and-so. Okay, great. We can move around and do that. Or I have this show and that show. Okay, let's do this. And so we can keep the work going and the flow happening and keeping the family growing.
100%. And how do you continue to find inspiration at this point? I feel like you've done so many projects over the course of your career, and obviously they're not tiny projects. You're putting and devoting so much of your time and your energy, and as also your creative juices into it. How are you able to continue to push on, I guess? And this is just a question that's arisen on the JAMCast recently, where myself and some of our other friends have experienced, I'd say for lack of a better term, moments of burnout, where, the chaos of the job can become overwhelming sometimes, especially being away from home and, like you said, working 21, 22 hours a day sometimes. How are you able to find that balance and continue to push on?
With the changing each storyline.
Yeah, like how are you able to continue to find creativity? And I guess also, I guess 2-part question, do you ever feel a sense of burnout with how busy and how often you work these days?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's actually with the people around you. It's more about the people around you. If you have the good people around you, it keeps you going. Like I look at Johnny. Johnny's like he's like dead-eyed, and so is Jason. He's lying on the couch like this, like oh shit. But when you look at each other, okay, this guy's done, and you're like done, and they're like going. And the fact that they're working so hard to make this project our passion, that's always been cool. We have this little Kiwi girl who just joined the Hitz, and she's actually a department coordinator, but she's like a master. And it's about keeping the gel. We always make sure we have family interaction so that everyone's always staying alive with each other. And she's like the master at that. So, and then, well, my wife's been very supportive of letting me go away and do stuff. And that's been really hard on her. It's with the storylines. If you jump on a show, okay, this fight happens, but it's just a fight. And then I get bored.
Same.
But if I'm involved, like, yeah, you can see two guys fighting. Okay, he does a butterfly twist, he does a barrel twist. Oh, that's a cool arm move. And to me, that's just like, yeah, it's a cool arm move. It's cool. Like, but everyone's moving the same. Everyone's fighting the same. But they're both from north and south, and he trains here, trains there. But they do the same moves. It's kind of like, for me, that gets a little. And that's just my personal opinion. That's when I start to lose interest. Or you get a weapon, and then they're using it completely wrong. Like there's a show I saw, and he had a rapier, right? And he's using it like a broadsword. Like, okay, this is your weapon since like what 3 centuries now,
yeah.
And you're using this sword like a broadsword. The completely different advantage point for your sword, the speed and accuracy, and how you can use it.
Totally.
I said so. I'm like, okay, that just throws me right off. But story point is always is something. When the script is really good and I can really dive into the characters when I'm creating the fights for them and their character and why, that keeps me going on that end.
Okay. Oh, that's super cool. And now, obviously, you explained at length how you like just working with good people and your no asshole policy and how people just need to get along with them. Is there any advice that you would give to up-and-coming stunt performers on what you think that they should focus on as far as getting their career launched, or any advice you maybe would have told a younger Brett Chan back in the day to save yourself time?
Don't be an asshole.
Hey, I'm with you on that.
Don't be a know-it-all. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter what you know. Unless it's a potential danger to you or to someone else, keep it quiet. So, yes, sir. Do the job. He asks you. He gives you a note. You know, when a coordinator hires you, he's not going to tell you turn your hand like this, turn your hand like this, punch like this. No. He hired you because you know how to do the job. He'll give you a note if it's wrong, but then take the note and don't give any feedback like that. Oh, well, because of this over here, because of this over. Oh, he was in the way. I said no. Your job is to understand where the camera is and move around so you can make that move happen, and without having to stress me because I'm dealing with 17 other things. So, just be cool and just be open-minded. And one thing is you should treat everyone the same. Like you treat a PA the same way you treat, a producer. You're just polite, nice, and it's always your smile is your calling card, and that's what people always remember. So, just be cool. Just be cool. And learning-wise, I mean, this is a common problem with new people. What they do is they try and learn 5 different things and become proficient at 5 different things. And what you end up happening is you end up becoming shitty at all 5 things.
Yes.
It's true. It's like you can do all these. Yeah, I can throw this punch, I can do this kick, but okay, I want to learn a kick like that. You want to do a spin kick. All right. So now you've learned how to do a spin kick, but what now? Now you don't know where to step, you don't know where to land, you don't know where to step next, you don't know how to do the next move because all you can do is that spin kick. Or, you know what I mean? So if you take one thing, get really good at one thing, get a base of something you're really good at, make sure you stay good at that, and then learn something else.
Yeah.
But keep that up, use them together, and then learn something else until you don't have to be an expert, but just proficient enough that you don't look like a fool doing it. Or when you send demo reels, demo reels is another thing. If you send demo reels, just because you want to put a demo reel, some kind of footage out there, it doesn't mean it's good, because when the guy's watching it, the coordinator's watching it, and this is my own personal opinion, I'm not going to judge you on it. Obviously, you have certain levels of abilities, everyone's kind of doing their thing, but make sure it was good, because whether or not I want to like you or not, or whether it was good or not, but when your name comes up later on, and because I don't know you, the last in my mind is you doing that move on that reel that you're sending out, which obviously you thought was good enough to put on the reel to send out, which it wasn't. So it's I'm not trying to be an ass, but that's what I'm going to remember, because I don't know you. If I know you and I see your progress, it's different. But don't. Another thing, if you're using a weapon, make sure you're using it right if you're going to put it on video. Because, you know what I mean?
I'm only laughing because I agree with everything you're saying right now. You're just like checking off my checklist of points that I've tried to reiterate over the last couple of years on this podcast. So
everybody wants to try and look good. You don't look good if you're doing this all the time. Or if you put on your reel, you do one move, let's say, barrel twist. But on your reel, just to make it a little bit longer, you put the barrel twist 9 times.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I've seen you do the barrel twist already, maybe once, maybe twice. Just unless it's in a sequence or something like that, then you don't need to keep showing me over and over and over again. But that's just like, just learn. That's growing pains. It's all. People are excited when they learn new skills, they do new things. So that's cool. But it's just a little word of advice.
100%. No, like I said, anyone that is an up and coming stunt performer, go rewind the last 3 minutes and re-listen exactly everything he said. He's hammering home every point that not only myself but other guests on the show have stated as well. So at this point, you're not being an ass. You're just stating some very common beliefs that we all hold. So
yeah, that's just what I'm thinking. I mean, that's one thing too. If you don't want to hear something, like if you're gonna ask my opinion.
Yes.
Make sure you're ready to hear like the good and the bad. I'll give you the bad, not be an asshole, but I'll give you the bad only because hopefully it'll help you grow. If you take it and take offense to it, then you shouldn't have asked me, and you don't want to grow. If you take and say, okay, I'm going to go change and do something with this, then you have aptitude to learn and you want to get better.
Yeah, 100%. And so obviously, like right now, you just mentioned you're coming off of an international show. You're in quarantine right now, and we're kind of heading into the end of the year right now. Do you have anything immediately planned, or are you just enjoying some well-deserved time off for once?
I have a show. I had a show that was going to go to LA, but then it got pushed. Oh. So that won't be happening right now. And then I waiting to hear about a show that goes to Los Angeles. Shoot Los Angeles, going to go to Atlanta. If that happens, great. There's a show in Vancouver that I'm talking to them right now. Well, the one in LA is feature. The one in Vancouver is a high-end series.
Okay.
And then I just got called for one possibly in Romania.
Okay.
So either one of those can go. And the one in Winnipeg, it's for just a small feature that a friend of mine asked me if I can help them out with. So yeah. So it depends whatever kind of can happen. But ideally, one of my scripts is we got money for it. It's one that Joe Tasman's on board for. Okay. So ideally, that's prepping November and December, and we're shooting January, February into March, and we shoot that in Thailand. And that's when I'm directing. I'm actually co-directing with this guy named Kamani Ray Smith. Awesome. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, he's dope. And and then my second script looks like it's going pretty good. But that'll trail into the next year, and then there's depends what's happening next year. I know Warrior for us starts shooting tentatively fall next year. Okay. And that depends what happens. Maybe Halo season 2 if they want me back. They didn't hate me.
Hell yeah, man. And now one of the last questions before I take up too much of your time is, from everything you've done from, Ninja Turtles back in the days when you first started to, working on shows like Skyscraper, Shazam, and all the series that we've talked about right now. Has there been a job that has been the most memorable or most rewarding in your career over the entire duration of it?
There was 3 or 4. Warrior is the pinnacle.
Okay.
Absolute pinnacle. It's like a unicorn. You don't get that kind of collaboration and the control they gave me. I was able to go edit it because the way we shoot the way I shoot the previs is like there's no other way to really edit it.
Yeah.
So I get to edit it, and then when the editors get it, they get it because there's a lot of things like a Marco Polo, which the editors are editors. They're great. But the thing is that they're not there with the story, the characters, the whole time, and they're following everything along. So sometimes they're not martial artists, and they don't get a little movement. Why this would make a difference as opposed to just this? It just and those will make a difference in the story because the character.
Totally.
Marco Polo was one of them too. Definitely, big thing for me. 100 Eyes and the whole battle sequence is one too. Unfortunate, the politics got rid of the show, but Last Samurai. Oh. That was one of my first international shows that I kind of did. Yeah, with Nick Powell, who really taught me a lot. Push.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did that in Hong Kong. That was a good one. That was a hard one. That's where I met my wife. Her band was touring Asia, and I saw her. And anyways, and then Warrior. What else? Oh, Nacho Libre.
No way.
One of my cool ones, because and it's because where I am, I'm absorbing the culture and the people, and start drinking tequila.
And what was your involvement on that project? Were you just a stunt performer back in the days on Nacho Libre, or?
Yeah. I mean, I helped with the choreo, but that wasn't my official title. But yeah, I was Dynasty in the Battle Royale, okay. And then I was also I doubled Ramses at the end because. He did a land or something like that, the actor, because he was a professional wrestler, and he got hit in here, and basically he had a little crack in his orbital plate here.
Oh no!
Yeah, and so some brain fluid was dripping to his eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I had to. The thing is that because like he was like huge. He was like 220, 230, and I think he was working out hard and other things, and he was just getting bloody big. He said, "Don't get any bigger." And so when I had to double him, I had been trimming. I was 215 maybe, and I was trimming down to be dynasty. So I got down to 189. And and then next thing you know, you got to double him like shit. And by that time, he skyrocketed like 240. So I was like, oh crap, okay, just eating everything and just trying to get bigger again. It was just, it was a pretty thing, but it was all right.
Crazy. It's so cool to look back on all the things that you remember after such a long career, and the things that stand out in your mind are always it's always interesting to hear from someone like yourself. So with that being said, the one question I always leave everyone with before we get out of here, and I'm super curious with yourself, is where do you personally see yourself 5 years from now, and then what about 10 years from now? That's a common answer as well, Brett.
I don't know. 5 years from now, I'm hoping I'm already directing 2 of my scripts, and there's a third script that I've been trying to get out a long time ago, and we had it like long time ago, but it fell through the cracks, and it was really hard anyway. So hopefully I would like get that one up and be directing that one. I'm talking to Bruce Conn, the movie Revenger.
Yeah.
So Bruce Conn, him and his producer H.M. Lee asked me, want to contract me to direct the next segment of Revenger. It's called Taikon.
Okay.
In Korea. So that's been kind of the works, but COVID's kind of put a hamper on a lot of things. So if that works out, that's great. I still it would be awesome if work went on for like another 2 more seasons and stuff like that. You never know. Definitely directing. I kind of want to edge into a little bit of producing just because I like the creative producer side of things. But yeah, that's good. Hopefully this COVID thing's going to go away and we kind of resolve it and the world comes back to the norm. Like hopefully the world norm is not worse, just help elevate my fellow brothers and sisters. Like we're all next to each other, we're all kind of growing. It's what I try and foster everyone to help grow with us. So that's the goal.
Hell yeah. Well, man, like I said, more than anything, I really appreciate not only your time and your insight that you shared here with everyone, but as a fellow Asian, it's really, really cool just continuing to see people like yourself continue to excel in our industry. There's not many of us, and to see people like yourself rising to the top is something that provides a lot of inspiration to someone like myself. So I hope you keep
You're rising to the top, man. What are you talking about? He's talking about that stuff. Jeez Louise, man. Trying to get you to come out work for me one day. It's like, it wouldn't happen. You're too big.
Bro, not at all. I anytime you or Johnny hit me up, I'll always answer, man. But like I said, it's so cool to see all the success all the way back from Olympus Has Fallen when we met. And you may not even know this, but I remember back to when you were on Deadliest Warrior as the weapons expert because I was one of the performers on the samurai side, funny enough. Yeah.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Noel Vega did that, right?
Correct. Yeah. So we have this like synergy that where our careers have crossed paths in so many different ways, and to hear all these stories has been so cool, man. So more than anything, like I said, thank you for your time, and on behalf of myself and everyone in the audience, we're wishing you luck, and hopefully we'll hear about this Emmy award in the near future.
Oh, that would be awesome. Cross your fingers. Vote, guys. If you guys like Warrior. What Olympus Has Fallen was awesome because I came out with some really good friends. Like I wasn't friends with James Liu, but Simon Rhee and I became he's like one of my best friends. So and I'm thankful for that. And Johnny and all the guys, and Lynn's always been a buddy. So and Steve Brown. So it was kind of cool. Anthony Nanakornpanam. Yeah, these are like they've become one of my really good friends.
100. Every name that you just named is someone I hold dear to my heart and have it. Simon Rhee just started teaching classes out of my gym on weekends. I just had Steve Brown be a guest at my workshops last week. So yeah, man, such amazing people that we all got closer with on that job. So
definitely.
Hell yeah. So before we get out of here, can you just let people know where they can stay up to date with you and maybe Hitz International in general? And we'll also throw the links on the screen.
It's on Facebook and Instagram or our website. Website doesn't get updated that regularly because it's a slower process with everyone around the world and trying to get information and drag it out. But it's usually like it's just Instagram and Facebook and our website hitzinternational.com and the same thing, Hitz International on both Facebook and Instagram.
Hell yeah. We'll be sure to put some links in there. And everyone, please be sure to go check it out and follow Brett as well as Hitz International. And with that being said, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Brett Chen himself. So that being said, guys, I got to give one more very special shout out. Thanks for coming through, Brett. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Pretty honored.
Hell yeah. And as always, guys, coming at you, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon.
Peace.